And if you're like, oh my God, how am I even gonna send out 200? I can't even send out 50 emails. You wanna have momentum, strong momentum every single month, every single day throughout the month. They just have more of a buy-in, they have more skin in the game. Also have a really strong relationship with them. Get to know them. Welcome back guys to another video. Everyone in recruitment, working for themselves or running an agency wants to crush that elusive $100,000 per month mark. And I've done it a handful of times in my career and it's exhilarating every single time. But for me to do that, it took careful planning, reverse engineering, being able to break it down so I know exactly what to do every single day and every single week. And I hope that I can give you a little bit more clarity and value in this video. So if you are excited to level up your income, to shoot for the moon and strive for these, not just 5, but 6-figure per month milestones, if I can do it, you can do it too. And buckle down and make sure you're ready to take some notes. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Preston. Thank you so much for your time. I've been a professional recruiter for over a decade. Started as a solo recruiter, but now running and scaling our recruitment agency here where we engage with some of the most reputable, well-known brands here in the US, and just kind of sharing with you my journey on an industry that really changed my life. In 2015, as you can see here, I decided to embark by myself, made $524,000 my first year, and that was a year before I was only making $30K a year at my recruiting job. So I made the most money I've ever done in my entire life. Didn't even know what to do with it, but instead of getting carried away, I decided to keep my head down and kept at it. 10 years later, happy to say that we've done over $5 million on my own desk, which is crazy. And again, presently we are scaling our recruitment agency. So let's get down into this video, the reason why we're here. So when it comes to breaking down the funnel, right? Let's just make a couple assumptions first before we continue in this video. So number one, let's just assume that the average fee for placement is roughly $20,000. That means required placements, you need to have roughly 5 per month to hit that elusive $100,000 per month goal. So let's just kind of reverse engineer to see what you have to do per month and per week and use very conservative numbers. So to hit $100,000 per month, how many final interviews do you need to be taking place on any monthly basis? So let's just assume that you have roughly 50% conversion rate, which is super low. Again, being conservative, you'll need at least 10, right, per month with the 50% conversion rate to hit 100,000. In terms of candidate replies, about 825 needed replies per month with a 20% conversion rate. And that means if you were to kind of reverse engineer backwards, you need to be reaching out to at least 4,000 candidates per month.
Are you completely lost on how to implement AI or automation in your business? Are you struggling with getting responses from new clients? Are you an established recruiter who is struggling to level up or break 6 figures and beyond? Or do you have no idea how to even start a successful recruitment business at all, whether it's full-time or part-time? If any of these resonate with you, please check out the Recruiter School, a premier educational and coaching program that will teach you everything I've learned in the past decade that has helped me build over $5 million on my own desk, where I had also the chance to work with the best companies in the world. You'll learn everything from what is the best ATS to how to master client acquisition, what are the best plugins and tools, what are the best platforms to find candidates on, how do you optimize your website and even LinkedIn profile, or how do you actually systematize your workflow with the best AI and automation. The best part, we will also personally handhold and be with you every step of the way through our one-on-one coaching just to make sure you understand and implement everything perfectly. But don't just take my word for it. Since we launched, the number of success stories that we created have truly been jaw-dropping and amazing. Whether it's making 5 figures part-time, to picking up their first clients within the first couple days to a week, to now making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per month consistently, I could go on and on and on. So if you're interested to learn more, make sure you click on the link below to book a time. Since our schedule books up really fast, make sure you reach out quickly. See you on the other side.
Now, for you to be able to get 10 final interviews, how many first-round interviews would you need? And assuming we have a 30% conversion rate, that means you need roughly about 33 first-round interviews needed per month, right? That's about 8 first-round interviews per week. So what does that mean for qualified candidates? Assuming there's a 20% conversion rate, that means you need about 165 needed per month, about roughly 40 per week. You need about, in terms of candidate replies, about 825 needed replies per month with a 20% conversion rate. And that means if you were to kind of reverse engineer backwards, you need to be reaching out to at least 4,000 candidates per month. This number may seem high, but again, keep in mind that the conversion rates here are extremely conservative. So that 4,000 number can be much lower depending also on your sector and your roles. So for you to be able to really go for that 100K, you want to have really good activity on your desk with a lot of good final rounds, first rounds, and ultimately to create that, do a lot of outreach replies and increasing the amount of qualified candidates that you have at a given time. So what does that mean in terms of weekly KPIs for candidates? So that means to hit 100K per month, you want to do roughly 1 to 2 placements per week, right? You want to also have 2 to 3 final round interviews per week and about 8 to 9 first round interviews per week, right? And that would also translate to about 40 to 45 qualified candidates per week, and about 200 candidates should be roughly responding back to you, 200 per week, and candidate outreach about 1,000. And if you're like, oh my God, how am I even going to send out 200? I can't even send out 50 emails. Yes, it's definitely possible to do it manually, but this is where you really want to not only rely either on outsourcing or delegating, but most importantly, where you can really start looking into the right tools, the automation AI, so that you can actually continue to reach out and scale without taking that much more time away from your desk, right? And with manual, it's one-to-one input output. There's only so much that you can do. But with technology, you can have a 1 input and then you can have the equivalent of maybe 5 or 10 outputs because it's infinitely scalable without you having to do that much more work. And so the easiest way for you to be able to reach out to more and more people to then get more and more replies is to embrace technology automation. Is something that I'm absolutely obsessed about. And if you come into the Recruiter School, for instance, that's what we obsess about with you today, making sure your workflow gets as efficient and elevated as much as possible. That's Can's. What about the client's funnel? So for you to be able to get $100,000 per month, right, you want to ideally be targeting at least 1 to 2 converted new clients per month with an active openings of roughly 5 to 7 per month. Now, again, if you only get 1 or 2 clients per month and each of them will give you 1 or 2 roles, that's probably not enough because there's also a huge chance that one or all of your clients may not be amazing clients. They might still be slow with feedback, difficult to hire, giving you a unicorn role that's impossible to fill, right? So ideally, you want to be able to not just focus too much on the number of new clients per month, but it's really the active openings. And I say 5 to 7 to be conservative. I would rather you opt for more like 5 to 10. So you always have a good number of really good roles that you can always put your time into. And if for any reason, if one slows down, you'd be able to still work on a lot of other roles that can still move fast and be ultimately billable. This is also making another assumption that your fill rate here is about 70 to 85%, right? You want that to be 90, 95 plus, which is what my agency is at. We only pick up roles that we are 1,000% confident that we can deliver, right? In the beginning stages, when you're starting out, or maybe you're inexperienced and you're really suffering with biz dev, right? The number one solution is let's get biz dev client acquisition up and running. Let's get those conversations and leads. Let's convert them to clients. But step 2 is, while that's great, you want to also make sure you pick up the clients and pick up the leads perfectly so that you can actually fill them, right? Because at the end of the day, picking up jobs left, right, and center doesn't put money in your pocket. It's actually knowing how to pick it up properly, working and managing expectations with the clients, and then doing your whatever you have to get that position filled. That is what matters, right? So assuming that you do everything perfectly, yes, you want to ideally always have like a 5 to 10, or I like to say like maybe 7 to 10, 7 to 11 open roles per month at a given time. So it gives you an opportunity to really have room to breathe, especially if you're on a roll and you do 1 to 2 placements quickly, right? The worst thing is to be able to do like 2 placements quickly in 1 month and you have no other jobs, you have no other clients, and now you're back to the board trying to go out there, cultivate new relationships, and then immediately you lost momentum. You want to have momentum, strong momentum every single month, every single day throughout the month. And you want to make sure you don't just do 1 or 2 placements. You can do 3, 4, 5 consistently, month in, month out. And the way to do that is you always have to have really strong client acquisition to be able to be converting from leads to clients every single month, and you know exactly what to do. So what would like a kind of a sample conservative funnel look like? So for you to be able to get 1 to 2 clients per month, you want to be able to shoot for at least 4 to 7 discovery calls per month, maybe 1 or 2 a week with a 20-30% conversion rate, right? And from there, how many qualified combos or conversations do you need? Assuming that there's a 10 to 15% conversion rate, you'd want to have at least 20 to 30 conversions or qualified conversations per month, right? Conversations where it's more than, hey, I'm interested. It's like, hey, they have questions, they're asking, they're digging, they're probing. You want to be able to have like as many spinning balls in the air as possible so you can have as many to convert to clients as much as possible. So for you to get about 20 to 30 qualified conversations per month, how many positive replies to outreach do you need? Assuming that there's a 10%, so out of every 10 outreach you send, only 1 responds positively, then that means you need to be doing about 200 to 300 outreaches per month. And so now taking all of that, reverse engineering it, how many outreach messages should we be doing? The math calculates about 2,000 to 3,000 per month, or about 100, 150 per day, right? 3 to 5 years ago, you'd be able to get clients doing 20 to 50 outreaches per day. Now, absolutely, you got to be doing at least 50 to 100 or 150 150 to 200 plus per day, assuming that you do everything correctly. The output doesn't matter if your messaging's off, your call to action's off, your targeting's off, your subject line's off. Everything has to be perfect. You can't just crank up output and hope that it fixes everything. It doesn't work like that. Okay. Now, keep in mind, guys, for this video, we're always going for that $100,000 per month mark. But what if your goal was 50? What if your goal was 10? Divide everything by 2, divide everything by 10, and then you can slowly understand, okay, so this is what I need to be doing every day and every week to make sure I'm tracking correctly to this goal. So what about some of the weekly KPIs, right? So that means you need to be getting roughly 1 new client per week converting. You need to be having about 1 to 2 discovery calls per week, so that maybe 50% conversion rate, you get 1 new client. You want to be able to shoot for at least 5 to 10 qualified replies per week, and ideally target for roughly 500 or minimum 500 outreaches per week, right? So again, I think the biggest surprise for people is going to be the number of output, but I don't want you to get fixed on it too much. It's more important for you to do less output with everything perfectly than more output and just breaking everything and doing everything wrong. This is a B2B business, and in recruitment, we work with other businesses, we work with other founders and decision makers. If you do things poorly or incorrectly, you could risk burning bridges. And if you risk burning a bridge, there could be a chance they might not ever want to work with you ever again. So you definitely don't want that to happen. Make sure you learn the fundamentals first, best practices, and then you can crank up that output. So what are some daily activity goals you can kind of keep in mind? So when it comes to candidates, right? Maybe you want to be able to shoot for about 2 to 250 per day on outreach. And while this may sound a lot, this is actually pretty typical when I'm recruiting full-time, full desk, high volume, when I'm doing maybe 2 or 3 roles per day. At a minimum, I'd be reaching out to a couple hundreds per day, and maximum, I could probably be reaching out to 500 plus, really sitting down, pushing it, and getting my outreaches out as much as possible. I'd also be doing about 10 to 20 per day. This is pretty realistic and pretty easy. You could probably crank that to more like 20 to 50. Again, the more you put in, the more you get out. You want results faster, push yourself, right? Instead of doing 10, do 20. Instead of doing 20, do 30. What about screening? So ideally, you want to do 5, 10 per day, but at the peak of my full desk recruiting, I'd probably be talking to about 15 to 20 candidates per day, right? And that's probably across 2 to 4 different roles. And I would be super vigilant with my time, making sure that I do my client stuff in the morning, candidates in the afternoon, submissions, admin stuff, beginning and the end of each day, planning the next day, the night before, really making sure I know exactly where every single minute of my time is going so I can make the most of it and still push my business forward while I'm making time to talk to 15 to 20 people a day. When it comes to clients, again, what daily things? For cold outreach, I would target maybe 100 to 200 minimum per day. This could be calls, emails, messages, videos, etc. I would definitely also follow up roughly 40 to 60. I'd probably do like 60 to 80 or 100 per day, right? From your outreach, you'll be able to get those responses and leads, and then I would definitely fast track those, prioritize those, and making sure that you're engaging them and re-engaging them as much as possible. And then I would, of course, roughly try to target at least 1 discovery call per day. So with the conversion rate percentage, then you can actually convert a good number of clients on a daily, weekly basis, and hopefully help you get to that next step in terms of doing deals, right? So in terms of conclusion for this overall slide, right, some tips that you can kind of think about, you really want to niche down. I think that really helps a lot, because by focusing on one vertical, you can get stronger results and you can also get referrals, really build a reputation faster. All the work that you've done to find really great candidates, you can also repitch them a lot easier because you're really focused on one niche, one type of role, and really becoming a master at that. Even though it's a lot more difficult now, I would still continue to try to get exclusives and retainers, which basically gives you the opportunity to work fewer clients, but higher yield and higher quality, right? These clients are going to be responsive. They're paying you per month. They might pay you something up front. And so they just have more of a buy-in. They have more skin in the game to make sure that you and them become successful. But with me, if it's just a regular perm contingent, which 95% of the positions are at our agency, that's fine. I love competition. I know the value that we can bring with every single role that we pick up. And so I love competing, right? And so that doesn't really bother me. But hey, if you can get exclusive retainers, shoot your shot, go for it. I would also really want to make sure that you guys are re-engaging the top candidates often and keep that relationship strong, right? It's so easy just to focus on the next client, next candidate, but you also have to understand your candidate, whether or not they get the job or they get interviewed, they can also serve so many other purposes. Like they can introduce you to other clients, other candidates. They can also be an NPC for a client campaign for a future client, right? You can also re-engage them because you can also resubmit them to other job openings that you pick up into the future. They can also create many other possibly word of mouth opportunities, affiliate referrals, you name it, the sky goes up and up and up. So it's really important for you to be able to utilize a really strong ATS or maybe even a CRM. But also, if you're going to put in that hard work and get that candidate in your database, also have a really strong relationship with them. Get to know them, making sure that they're comfortable hearing from you, trying to check in with them maybe every 30, 60, 90 days, every 2 or 3 weeks. And that, if you can't help them now, then perhaps you can help them in the future. But the easiest way to do that is to also make sure that you have a really great kind of cadence with them. They're not completely cold. They don't forget about you, so that if you do get like another opportunity, you can immediately pitch them and they'll be very responsive to you as well. And so it's very, very important to, like, on a weekly, daily basis, I would also fast track or prioritize some of the highest caliber of talent that month or that week or that quarter, and that you always make an effort to kind of keep track with them. And whether you do it manually or automated, a little bit goes a long way here. Lastly, you want to automate tasks, right? Because in this landscape, things are changing, things are evolving, things are becoming a lot more difficult, especially with client acquisition. It's a lot more of a numbers game, assuming that you're doing things correctly. And if you do it correctly, but you also do it manual, there's only so much that you can do with your free time, right? Like, there's only so many emails you can do. And then even if you spend the whole day on emails, you could probably spend out hundreds and hundreds of emails, but then you have little to no time to focus on admin stuff, candidate stuff, marketing stuff, right? So automation is really a must-have for you to be able to embrace and utilize, because it allows you not to be stuck in your business, not be forced to having to do all that research and sourcing and all that stuff. It frees you from it. Technology can do all the mundane heavy lifting for you, where now you can focus most of your time on doing the heavy lifting, closing clients, closing cans, doing deals, and making it happen. So I hope that this video helps you. But again, as big as your goals are, whether it's 50K or 10K, break it down, right? Especially with the percentages we shared and the weekly and monthly KPIs. But if your goal is more than that, maybe it's, you're into 200K, 500K, you can then double, triple, quintuple the numbers that we're seeing here, so that you and your team can obviously reverse engineer it and plan a more realistic goal accordingly. So I hope this helped you guys. Making 100K in anything is one of the best feelings in the world. I want to do what I can so that most of you and all of you can really hit that. Doing it for the first time, I'm never going to forget it. My own experience going through that, it's just something that you would kind of only see on social media, other people doing, and you're like, oh, it can never happen to me. But once it happens to you, like, oh my God, now I know it's possible. And now I know if I can do it once, I can do it again. And if I can do it, you guys can do it too. I'm just one guy who refuses to give up, tries to be better every single day, level up as we go, and teaching you things and entertaining you about a career, a business opportunity, an industry that I've come to really fall in love with and change my life. And I hope it does the same for you. So appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one.